Hey everyone, Lord Josh here. Welcome back to Taoist Magick. Something unexpected and interesting has dawned on me recently. A bit of a revelation, if you will. I didn't intend on having this experience, it just happened very naturally, as most revealing experiences do. I woke up to blissful snowfall, absolutely breathtaking snow covering the nearby fields and forests, like a Christmas postcard where everything just looks and feels like a wintry dream. The snow was settling and it was starting to get quite deep, and I thought it would be a good time to go outside and enjoy the magic of it. I'm the type of person who loves most of the elements. When there's a rainstorm, I will go out and stand in the rain, let it wash over me. When there's strong winds, I also love to be outside. I find wind to be refreshing and energizing. Depending on the type of weather, I usually end up feeling different emotions. That's the weather magician in me. But I think all occultists have a degree of weather sensitivity. So I put on my warmest clothes, I bring my white Kongming fan with me, I head outside, and the first thing that hits me, other than the cold, is the sound, or lack thereof. Complete and utter silence. No wind, no leaves or trees rustling, no animals making noises, no birds. Nobody else is around me, just myself and the snow. Just pure peace and quiet. I made my way to the peach garden on the far end of the property, which is my power spot, and I started to take this beautiful footage that you see right here. In my power spot, there's a very special tree that I adore. It's been featured in many of my videos. I have a real strong connection to this tree. I've consulted it in the same way you would ask an oracle for spiritual advice. This tree knows everything about me. It has for many years given me nutrients, both physical and spiritual. But at this time of the year, I always thought it was dead, that the energy had gone, and the garden itself was dead, which is why I don't go out much during this time of year. Now I realize that's not the case at all. So I place my white fan on its usual perch, where I always place it, and suddenly I felt something come over me. I'm not sure if it was the silence or the scenery, but it was so quiet that I felt like I was in a sound isolation chamber. I get the urge to sit down beside the tree and just exist in the moment for no reason, just to sit and enjoy nature. I felt very compelled to do this. So I sat down and I looked up to the pure white sky, and within maybe 5 seconds I go into a complete trance. My mind stops thinking, time seems to stand still, and I get lost in the moment. I wasn't attempting to do this. I didn't intend on going into a deep state of zen or flow. It happened as easy as breathing. By this point, I surrendered to it. I don't question or doubt it. There's no point fighting against the experience because that tends to drive it away. As this is happening, I notice that I'm feeling something that I have felt before, but maybe only a handful of times in the last decade or so. But I've never felt it so strongly, nor can I make this happen at my will. I felt comforted, protected, secure, and I felt a sense of darkness come over me. Not evil, just a pleasant, welcoming darkness. I felt like I was under the guidance of something greater than myself. It felt very much like a divine encounter that was leading me somewhere. By this point, I stopped feeling the cold and the snow, and I was just sitting there, oblivious to the fact it's absolutely freezing. I looked up to the tree to see my fan was almost buried in snow. I could barely make it out in between the branches, so time had truly passed by without me realizing. As I'm drifting more and more into classic flow, I had a major breakthrough. In my mind, I asked, is there a deity that wishes to come forward? Because I thought it was a deity or a spirit making me feel this way. I got my answer, and it was no spirit, no god, no immortal. This state of being that I was in was created by yin. That's right, yin qi, all that is yin. I was sitting in the armchair of supreme ultimate yin. Coldness, passiveness, calmness, stillness, softness. The more feminine aspects were making themselves known to me in a really powerful but gentle way. So I'm enjoying this yin state, and I get the idea that my beloved tree is not actually dead. The grass, the flowers, the insects, all of it is sleeping, resting, hibernating. It will return only when it is ready to do so. I had a very sincere moment of self-realization that I am far too much of a young person. I don't make enough time and effort for yin. I don't have enough emptiness in my heart to accommodate its beauty. I'm naturally an extrovert. I'm colorful, I'm wacky, I'm attracted to glory, power, wealth, success, status, having more and more in my life. All of this is very young, but I'm setting myself up for failure by doing this. I realize that I'm not the only one out there. Based on the comments I get from my viewers, I get people asking, how can I get rid of yin from my life and replace it with yang? Well, I used to wonder the same thing. The answer is you can't, or at least you can't do this for long without getting some unwanted effects. If you completely reject yin, these things may happen. You will never be able to rest. You'll never get to sleep. You cannot be active if you don't know how to be inactive. Only when you have had a good night's sleep can you be properly energized the next day. People that are full of yang have little space for yin. Such people may end up with severely high blood pressure, suffer heart attacks, get cancer from an overabundance of cells, get angry very easily, become arrogant and impulsive. They may become headstrong and don't properly think things through. They can be prone to violence and aggressiveness. The way culture is right now, it panders to these types of people. The truth is, we live in a mostly young world that rewards young people. A world that never sleeps. A world where everyone is trying so desperately to make money, buy things, cultivate a reputation, instant gratification, rather than focusing inward on cultivating oneself. This is one of the reasons why the average person is finding lockdown so damn stressful. Young people are high maintenance. They are extroverts looking for constant stimulation and attention. They get their satisfaction and energy from being around other people 24/7. And when this cannot happen for whatever reason, they no longer have that release valve. So in that respect, the yang qi becomes a major burden and it causes health issues. A prime example of this would be insomnia, frustration, restlessness, anxiety. Those who understand the importance of balance can deal with this a lot better. Yin people are very introspective. They know that everything fundamentally begins with the self, with the internal, and you are the origin of all that is. That does not mean the external is powerless, of course it isn't. It simply means the foundation is inner, not outer. And I've forgotten that over the years. Even in the world of magic, a lot of sorcerers reject yin, especially right-hand path New Agers. You've probably seen those cringeworthy so-called inspirational quotes saying, "Walk away from everything that gives you bad vibes," or "I'm only accepting positivity." Well, what universe do you exist in? Because reality does not work that way. We can't just ignore the negative. We have to embrace both sides of the coin and try to absorb the negative. If you don't, then you will suffer from an excess of yang. If you're overindulgent in any type of energy, it will cause a lot of major issues in your mind, body, and spirit. Magic, at least in my opinion, is quite a yin pursuit, dealing with the supernatural, the spiritual realms, the unseen forces that exist around us just outside of clear sight. That's very yin, and that's a damn good thing. Yin is not evil or destructive. Just like darkness, it's misunderstood. It has the potential to be evil, absolutely, but so does yang. If you're a ruthless corporate CEO and you get yourself so stressed out and angry over money and give yourself a heart attack, fiery yang qi is causing that to happen, not yin. I'd say that is pretty damn destructive. Likewise, if you fall into a terrible depression, an overabundance of yin can lead to sadness, and you can end up in an equally bad place. The answer is somewhere in the middle, as it usually is. People might say, well, how come you didn't know this beforehand? I've always known it, but I've never truly acknowledged it until I had this experience where I realized just how serene it is. Yin only becomes cold when compared with yang and vice versa. It's the direct comparison that makes it so. Simply think of yin as shadows and yang as sunlight. Neither are truly good or evil because nothing is that black and white. Yang personality types are the choleric and the sanguine. Yin personality types are the phlegmatic and the melancholic. I'd be interested to see where some of you were on the spectrum. As a sorcerer, it's so important that you hold on to your yin, because magic, at least for me, is such a slow process. It requires patience, imagination, wisdom, foresight, and inwardness. Those are all classic textbook yin characteristics. Every magician I've met, no matter their tradition, has all of those qualities in some way. Without that, you would struggle immensely. I have a lot to be thankful for in regards to yin. It has given me the patience to figure out some very complicated Taoist spells. Yin has given me a fairly decent sense of intuition, a gut instinct that I rely on every day of my life. Yin has allowed me to connect with spirits and gods on a deeper level, not just on a materialistic one. Yin has given me the imagination to be able to write countless poems on all different subjects, and if the time comes where I need to defend myself against a hex or a curse, I can always turn to yin energy to protect me if such a situation arises. Yin gives a person the ability to read into things, to analyze and to study, which is needed for a spiritual journey. On a human level, I'm thankful that yin allows me to get to sleep at night. Without all of these things, I would not be the magician I am today. A lot of practices require yin, such as opodontion cultivation exercises. The third eye, or yin tong, as the Taoists call it, requires the practitioner to get in tune with their psychic abilities. Yin governs most extrasensory powers. Necromancy is incredibly yin. Any kind of dream magic or OBE, out-of-body experience, astral projection, those are mostly yin practices. The most yin animal of the four celestial animals, the black tortoise of the north, otherwise known as the dark warrior, is the embodiment of supreme yin. I have not given the dark warrior the time it deserves because I've always been a little apprehensive with it. But now, because of this experience I had with the snow, I'm changing my perspective somewhat. This doesn't mean you have to change your personality and become something you're not. I'll always be me, but I now realize where I've been going wrong so I can make some improvements. Nobody is above making some self-improvements. It doesn't matter if you've been practicing magic for 5 days or 5 years, you can always improve something. So in conclusion, I want to give you a little assignment. Right now, yin is in full control of nature, which means we all have the opportunity to understand it better. I urge people to get better acquainted with it, with darkness, with softness and stillness. No specific ritual or methods. Do what feels right for you. Reach out to the dark warrior. Put some warm clothes on, head outside, and meditate on all things yin and see how it makes you feel. So thanks a lot for watching this, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you soon.